Spring has sprung in southwestern Pennsylvania, at least for the time being, as we welcome you to Joe Walton Stadium on the campus of Robert Morris University for today's non-conference men's lacrosse matchup between the visiting High Point Panthers and your Robert Morris University Colonials. Adam Gusky, Nathan Preisinger on the call for you here on RMU Athletics YouTube. High Point comes into the game with a record of 3-3 coming out of the SoCon Conference. Meanwhile, RMU 2-3 on the season. They come out of the A-Sun. High Point 15-4 victory, over Bellarmine in their last game. Meanwhile, the Colonials an impressive 23-6 victory against Canisius in their last outing earlier this week. And Nathan, as we take a look at this game, the 8th matchup between these two teams, and Robert Morris looks to knot it up at 4-4 because right now High Point holds the all-time series 4-3.
And Adam, it's bound to be an entertaining matchup here today. I mean, High Point right outside of the top 20 in all of college lacrosse on the men's side. RMU coming off of that impressive win, as you mentioned, 23-6. They're just slacking over Canisius just a few days ago. So it's bound to be an entertaining game and featuring some very talented players in all of college lacrosse.
Yeah, taking a look at the Colonials' last game, like you said, 23-6, the Colonials got that win, and there were just Colonials all over the field scoring goals in that game. So big victory there for Robert Morris, their second of the season. Taking a look at the Colonials thus far this year, a loss at Duke, a loss at home against Bucknell, a loss on the road at Stony Brook out on Long Island, and then a couple of wins on the road at Mercer, and then at home against Canisius, the game we were just talking about. Meanwhile, for the High Point Panthers, they've had a whale of an on-conference schedule. Started on the road at Maryland, then at Virginia. That's the number 2 and 1 teams, respectively, in the nation. And as you take a look at the score of that game against Virginia, they lost by just 1 goal in that game, 11-12. The Panthers fell in that one.
High Point's really going to bring it on in this game. I mean, as you mentioned, those 3 losses this year came against some really good opponents, and that Virginia game is one to highlight. 11-10 they lost, but High Point just got off a big win against Bellarmine, and RMU's looking to extend their win streak to 3 today.
Yeah, the other loss this season for High Point was against Duke at home back on March 1st. As we are underway here in Moon Township, PA, High Point, they go left to right across your screen. They wear the road black uniforms. Robert Morris in the home whites, they'll go right to left.
And looking at that comparison that you just mentioned, Duke, their last loss that High Point received, only losing that one 18-14. RMU opened up the season against them and lost 21-12, so it's a nice comparison point. High Point should have the edge in this one, but we'll see. RMU has really come on late here the past few weeks in the season.
Always good to take a look at like opponents. Of course, RMU did play on the road at Duke. Meanwhile, it was a home game for High Point against the Blue Devils as the ball comes loose from the Panthers and a ground ball scooped up by RMU, and the Colonials quickly go the other way looking to get the clear. They'll do so. Here comes a Colonial with a long stick, and they'll go up high. As retreating with the ball is Boudreau. Now back behind the goal the Colonials go. Back out high to Boudreau. He'll survey and give it off to Lidstone. As RMU very patient with this possession. Over 30 seconds since they took the ball away. Off to the high right side. Now down towards the goal, and an underhanded shot ripped off by Corson Keeley. And that'll carry back behind the net, and the Panthers were last back, so it will be Panthers ball.
Parker Green, the starting goalkeeper for High Point, made a nice save early on. And it'll be interesting to see how the Colonials get inside on this defense, because against Canisius, RMU just had their way all day long. But against some of their tougher teams that RMU has played, they've struggled to get inside and move the ball around. But a great look early on.
Speaking of goaltenders, in the net for Robert Morris is Nate Randall, the 5'11 freshman from Beverly Hills, Michigan. High Point sets the offense. Go ahead.
Randall's been outstanding the past 2 games for the Colonials in those 2 wins. Combined 26 saves, 11 against Canisius, and there's a huge one right there.
And down to his knees went Randall, kicked that one high, and the Colonials scooped a ground ball, and they'll race it back the other way. Pushing the issue, Doyle for the Colonials as the Colonials get the clear. Centering pass through the stick of Taddeo, and it'll carry all the way to the near sideline out of bounds, and it will be High Point ball on the Colonials' turnover. Two defenders challenging Nolting there, and the ball down on the ground and finally will be scooped up. Christoforous came out of there with it for the Colonials, and RMU looks to reset the offense. Now with it for RMU, Kane. Kane back behind the net. Now it's Keeley. Keeley, two defenders on him. And ultimately 5 black jerseys all in the same spot, but still a loose ball. And who's going to scoop this ground ball? Knocked to the sideline. Oh, certainly looked like it was last touched by the Panthers, but it will be Panthers ball. As the official down on the field had a better look at it than we did.
So far this game, a lot of physicality, and that's what you expect off these two high-talented teams looking to get an edge early on in this game. High Point bringing the pressure so far.
Rizzo with it. Steps into the attack zone, then backs it back off. Methodical setup, more than 30 seconds since High Point took possession. Towards the far sideline, Lamb picks it up. Lamb rips one off, save made by Randall. RMU quickly again the other way. They get the clear. Out front it'll go through the stick of Keeley though. He couldn't grab the pass from Taddeo. And again, High Point picks it up and goes the other way with it. It's the goaltender, Parker Green, who goes all the way out towards midfield before passing it off.
Boy, a nice look by Keeley. Only if he could have corralled it, would have had a point-blank opportunity on Green.
Near side it comes. Russell. Russell will set the offense from behind the goal for High Point. Clock winds towards 9:30 to play first quarter. We're scoreless here in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Shot ripped off. Good angle for Jackson Lamb as he gets it back behind Nate Randall. And High Point strikes first.
Jackson Lamb, just a great release from way out on Nate Randall, able to get his 3rd goal of the season. And High Point on the board first, and just a different change of pace for the Colonials. They scored 23 seconds in against Canisius, but this time High Point able to get on the scoreboard first.
RMU scoops the face off, picking it up, Bo Columbus for the Colonials. Ball dropped this time by Taddeo, but worked back. Out on the high right with the ball, Elliot Holden for RMU. .30 seconds since the face-off win by RMU. As back it goes to Holden after Taggart Clark had it. Now Swaggerty for the Colonials. Now Holden. Holden takes a couple of checks from a defender. Down towards the goal line and back out it'll go. McShay. Behind the net, Taddeo. Keeley through traffic. 3 defenders find their way to him. The ball comes loose. I'll say it's a shot in the Colonials' last back, so it'll stay with RMU. Shot clock waning. Keeley takes it out front, tries a behind the back shot, but didn't have a good opportunity to get that one towards the goal. And ultimately, it'll be a shot clock violation against RMU, and High Point goes the other way. Strong defense there by the High Point Panthers.
Keeley just trying to pull something out of the bag, but he's been one of the more impressive Colonials this year. 3.2 goals per game. That's 19th in the nation for Keeley, and he's had a couple looks early, making some moves and trying to get inside.
Far side, Nolting with it for High Point. Beat up by Down. Nolting back behind the goal. Long stick defender on him. Near side it comes. Powinski. Check that was a Panther. It's worked back behind. Sawyer has it for the Panthers. Ball knocked loose. And the Colonials can't save it before it goes across the end line. So it will remain with High Point. Around up front, the Panthers work it. Now back behind again for Sawyer. Sawyer sets on the high left. Shot clock down to 5. Angled shot knocked down by a defender. The shot ripped off by Nolting, knocked down by the Colonials. Owen down. RMU scoops the ground ball and looks to go the other way with it, but a Colonial defender with the ball in his stick. Christopher Atos stepped across the end line with the ball in his possession, so it will be High Point ball as they'll trigger down in this near corner with a fresh 80 seconds to work with. This has been a couple of methodical possessions for High Point, and let's see what they do here with 80 to work with, all in the offensive end of the field.
A tough possession for RMU this last time around. Elliot Holden made a nice effort trying to get to the ball on the end line, but couldn't get there in time. It went out, and then another turnover on the Colonials. And High Point set up for another opportunity with a full shot clock.
Rizzo, high on the left for the Panthers. Gets some separation from a defender. Low shot finds its way past Nate Randall. And Nick Rizzo puts High Point on top 2-0.
Nick Rizzo gets it out to the right of Nate Randall and just makes a nice play, spinning around and just letting one rip. Takes it down low on Randall, and Randall not able to get down in time. And Rizzo, with a really, really nice goal, makes it 6 on the season for Rizzo.
So RMU down 2-0. RMU winners of their last 2. Meanwhile, High Point winners of 3 of their last 4. Their lone loss coming in a home game against the Duke Blue Devils is a face-off won by RMU. Colonials trying to speed up offensively here is going towards the net was Bo Columbus. And a timeout called by RMU. With 6:05 to go here, Craig McDonald wants to talk strategy with his team as things have not gone the way the Colonials wanted to through the first 6 minutes of this game. We'll step away. It's RMU Lacrosse here on RMU Athletics YouTube. 6:05 to play first quarter. RMU down 2-0. It'll be Colonials ball here as they'll start this offensive possession. About 15 yards away from the goal line, now towards that far sideline.
And Craig McDonald taking that timeout midway through this first quarter, trying to keep his team from going down too much. They've faced a lot of early deficits in the season. Went down 10-1 against Duke. Went down 7-0 against Stony Brook. Some early deficits that they want to try to avoid in this one.
Lidstone takes it into up front, and then Taddeo had the ball knocked away from him. High Point had it for a moment. The Colonials trying to get it back, though the loose ball scooped up by the Panthers. They push it into the midfield, and it's still loose, and finally a ball scooped up by Owen Downs, so give him a ground ball after a very protracted turnover for the Panthers. Now the Colonials set the offense again here. Lots of time to work with in the offensive zone. Just over 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. RMU down by 2. As RMU cycles the ball. Far side it'll go. Boudreau trying to back down a defender. Can't do so. Works it off to a teammate. Shot ripped off. Taggart Clark. His shot bounces past the goal. And RMU, last player's back. So it'll stay with the Colonials. Keeley. Far side Boudreau. Up high it goes. 2 defenders. Shut down Lidstone. A big collision out near the top of the offensive zone. Ball knocked loose momentarily. Now it will come down to the ground. And a ground ball scooped up by RMU. So the Colonials turn it over, then take it right back. It's Leary going all the way with a long stick. Bounces it wide. As he tried to get it back behind Parker Green, it caroms all the way back across the goal line, or rather across the end line. And High Point's going to call a timeout now with 4:25 to play first quarter. So things have gone awry with High Point turning the ball over, giving Robert Morris additional offensive opportunities, though the Colonials haven't been able to get great shots on goal yet.
Yeah, and James Leary came in flying. What an effort by him. Looked like a safety out of the backfield. Getting that turnover and coming in just outside with that shot. But James Leary against Canisius last game set a program record with 7 caused turnovers, so he's been a force on the defensive side for the Colonials. But offensively, it hasn't been so far what they've wanted compared to what they had against Canisius, just scoring at will.
With just over 4 minutes to play in the first quarter, it's High Point 2 and RMU 0. We'll step away. More RMU lacrosse when we return in a moment here on RMU Athletics YouTube. Back in Moon Township, PA, as RMU trails High Point 2-0. Colonials will have the ball here after a Panthers timeout. Panthers needed to regroup here after turning the ball over several times and wanted to set some defensive strategy here. They have looked good defensively against the Colonials through the first 10-plus minutes of the first quarter.
A few good looks for the Colonials so far. As we mentioned, Leary recently and Tiger Clark had one from the outside, but haven't been able to get them on goal. Not testing green enough so far.
Johansson with it for the Colonials. Charges towards the goal and able to get one back behind Parker Green. They'll say no goal. Greg McDonald in the Colonials bench. Not happy with that goal was waved off, so it will be Panthers ball going the other way.
And that's a tough break for the Colonials, especially against a High Point team that's very talented. And they're trailing 2-0 right now, are the Colonials, so that break right there, not allowing that goal, it's a tough one.
and methodically offensive-minded are the Panthers thus far, and we've also seen the way they're able to shut down the Colonials on the defensive end.
And we haven't seen too much of the Panthers' top player, Asher Nolting, this season. 6.33 points per game. It's 5th in the nation, and he has a lot of accolades to his name preseason-wise. Was a preseason All-American by Inside Lacrosse, also preseason All-Conference team in the Southern Conference. So he's a player that got to keep in check, and we haven't seen much of him yet.
Shot out front, knocked aside by Nate Randall. It'll carry all the way across the end line. And it'll be Colonials ball. RMU last back. And here come the Colonials. RMU slowing it down in the midfield. 2:40 to play first quarter. Johansson off to the near sideline. Holden. Back behind the net. Now the Colonials work it around Johansson again up high. Off to the high right where a shot is ripped off and a save made by Parker Green. The stop on Starkey. And the Colonials get a goal. That ball trickles into the net, and RMU cuts the deficit in half as we take another look at this one. That one down towards the ground, and the ground ball then scooped up by Taggart Clark, and he's able to put it back into the net after the initial save by Parker Green.
A relentless effort for the Colonials in that possession, and Taggart Clark picks up the loose ground ball and able to scoop it in over Green. And we just mentioned him being one of the leading scorers in the nation, and he takes care of putting the Colonials on the board, cutting it to 2-1.
An infraction against the Panthers on the face-off, so it will be the Colonials with the win. And an opportunity to set the offense yet again here. We're going to tie this one up at 2 with 2 minutes to play in the first quarter. Up top it'll go. Lidstone with it for RMU. He gets some separation. Now working it off high right side down. Back up top again, it's Lidstone. Lidstone goes left. Shot ripped off. Boudreau can't find the back of the net. It'll carry to the far sideline. And it stays with the Colonials. Keeley back behind the net. Swaggerty now crosses the goal line again. It's Keeley off to the high left. Taddeo. Now Lidstone, and a shot ripped off again. This one a sharper angle by Taddeo, and it carries to the sideline and will stay with RMU. And 60 seconds to work with on the shot clock.
Colonials getting a couple good looks so far this possession, really maintaining and pushing up that shot clock, getting some more chances.
Undoubtedly, over the last couple of minutes, the Colonials have really found their footing offensively. They've turned it into one goal, and only 10-second differential between shot and game clock. You have to assume RMU is going to do all they can to try to take a tie into the quarter break. As it goes back behind the goal again. Now Keeley up front through the stick of Boudreau, down to the turf. And a ground ball scooped up by the Panthers. Now the Panthers, if they hurry things up, have a decent offensive opportunity. Though it doesn't look like Parker Green is too keen on getting things rolling quickly. Vines crosses midfield as a delayed penalty will come in against RMU. Down to 15 seconds to go in the quarter. Panthers retreating. Van Overbeek feeds it off. And a pass high intended for Van Overbeek. Carries all the way to the near sideline, out of bounds. And the horn sounds as the quarter expires. The Colonials will be a man down, though, as we head to the second quarter. But we'll head to the second quarter with the Colonials trailing the High Point Panthers 2-1. And the RMU has found their offensive footing a bit, though they haven't been able to get great looks at the goal until the latter stages of that first quarter.
Yeah, the momentum was picking up for the Colonials, and I mean, compared to last game, 12 goals were scored in the first quarter, 9 of them from the Colonials. This time around, though, just 3 on the scoreboard, 1 for the Colonials, but RMU starting to get into a rhythm, playing a lot better offensively, but as you said, they'll be down a man when we start the second quarter.
We'll take a pause and return with second quarter action as we head to the second frame. It's the Panthers 2 and the Colonials 1. It's RMU Men's Lacrosse on RMU Athletics YouTube. Set to begin the second quarter. High Point 2, RMU 1. RMU down a man, of penalty against the Colonials. It was a delayed penalty against Taggart Clark. Panthers did what they could to try to set offense quickly after initially it looked like they were going to slow things down and just let the quarter expire, but no good shot ripped off. So it'll be Panthers ball to begin the second quarter because of the delayed penalty. Starting things off our sideline. Maea over along that far boundary. 20 yards from the goal line. Maea starting the offensive attack for the Panthers as soon as the officials get things sorted out. There was an issue with the sticks. Sticks were exchanged. It's the RMU athletic trainer went and grabbed that one. And we are underway in the second quarter. Panthers with it. They'll cycle it up high now to the near side. Maea back behind the goal. Now comes near side. There's 2 players behind the goal line for the Panthers. High Point in the blacks, right to left here in the second quarter. The Colonials in the whites, they'll go left to right. Murphy feeding it off. Nolting back to Murphy. Down behind the goal, retreating with it. Van Overbeek out high. No ground ball there as the Panthers maintain the possession. Shot clock waning. This one bounces all the way to the near side. And a shot clock violation against the Panthers. And add to that, we are back to even strength as the penalty against Taggart Clark expires. Now the Colonials bring it back offensively.
A big kill off for the Colonials. Jackson Lamb for High Point let one rip with about 15 seconds left on the shot clock, and then by the time they worked it around and tried to get another shot, it went wide, and that was it for High Point on their power play opportunity.
Starkey now to Johansson, back to Starkey. Starkey into the offensive zone. Races towards the goal line, feeds it back behind. Now out front it'll go. Taddeo fed it off. A bouncing shot carries wide by Johansson. RMU, the last player back, so it'll stay with the Colonials. 34 on the shot clock. Now Taddeo. Starkey 15 yards from the goal line, trying to back down a defender. Takes it out front. Now charges forward. Rips one wide. RMU maintains possession. Shot clock winding down towards 15. As out front it'll go. Keeley turnaround shot. Knocked down to the turf. Give a save to Parker Green. There'll be a loose ball foul against the Panthers, and the Colonials get the ball and a fresh 60 seconds to work with on the shot clock. Starkey behind. Keeley along the goal line. Challenged by two defenders and the goaltender. Green now retreats back into his crease. And High Point comes out of there with the ball, and they'll charge the other way, looking to build on this one-goal advantage.
Wow, Keeley had a great opportunity there, and as you mentioned, Parker Green coming out and challenging him. Basically had a wide-open cage behind him, but Keeley just met by three different Panthers defenders, not able to get the shot off.
Ippolito works it over far side. Vines towards the goal line, then back behind and out front again it goes. On the right side, Nolting, and that one will make its way towards the goal and back behind Nate Randall, and High Point has claimed a 3-1 lead.
Braden Maia, the one with the beautiful little backhand shot on a feed from Asher Nolting. And that connection, their dynamic duo, getting it going, making it 3-1. And Maia, 19 goals now in the season for him. He's been their big producer, but Asher Nolting, a nice feed to him.
Who's going to come out with this face-off? The Colonials will do so, down by 2. Colonials scoop up the ball along the goal line. Holden pulls it out, and then we'll hand off. Back out towards midfield with the ball, McShay for the Colonials. McShay feigns 2 passes, then works it back behind. Keeley up high. Long shot ripped off by Holden, save made. Ground ball still loose, scooped up by High Point. One and done opportunity there for RMU after the save made by Parker Green. The Panthers go the other way with it.
Elliot Holden, a good clean look from out top there. He had the chance a little bit earlier in that possession, but looked like he was going to shoot and drop the ball before he could get it across. But he's a player that really needs to start stepping up for these Colonials. Hasn't scored too much this year, but had 8 goals last year and was a big key to that team.
Ball to the near sideline. Going to have an officials conference here to see who touched the ball last. The officials need to determine whose possession it will be. And they determine it's Panthers' ball. Colonials get back defensively. The Panthers bring on the offensive-minded players that they want out there on the field, and with 10:15 to go, Panthers set the offense, looking to build on this 2-goal advantage. Nolting to Maia, and back-to-back goals with that combination for the High Point Panthers.
Wow, are they electric. Making it look easy. Nolting just right across the middle of the defensive formation, finds Maia on the left side of Randall, and he puts it in without Randall even getting over there and having a second thought.
2 goals in less than 2 minutes between the combination of Nolting and Maia. And the Colonials find themselves down by 3, 4-1. 2 straight goals for the Panthers. After the Colonials had cut the Panthers' lead down to 2-1. Who's going to scoop this ground ball as it's pushed forward by RMU, and finally it's scooped up by the Panthers. High Point pushing it forward. It's Nolting with it. Fitting it way back for Vines. Vines off to Ippolito. On the high left again. Ippolito challenged by two Colonial defenders. And a timeout is called by High Point as that offensive possession was starting to break down, and their coaching staff wants to talk strategy here. They're up by 3 and look to build on that. Timeout on the field. We'll step away 2 with the score. High Point 4 and RMU 1. It's RMU Men's Lacrosse on RMU Athletics YouTube. $9:15 to play, second quarter. RMU down 4-1, trailing the High Point Panthers. Talked about it earlier. Panthers 3-3, heading out of the SoCon. This is the 8th matchup all time between the Colonials out of the A-Sun and High Point. High Point leading the all-time series 4-3. Last time these two teams met was at High Point. It was a 21-15 victory for the Panthers in that one.
On the last 2 times this matchup has been held here, RMU getting the better half of the Panthers with 2 straight wins down Joe Walton Stadium.
Turnover by the Panthers. RMU looks to go the other way with it. Nearly lost it momentarily, but ball was scooped up by Owen Down, and the Colonials maintain the possession. Set the offense initially after getting the clear, and then pull it back out to allow things to settle down here. 60 on the shot clock, so plenty of time to work with here for RMU, and 8.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Ball cycled around. Johansson trying to back down a defender. Now feeds it off. Keeley up high. Keeley with 2 defenders in front of him. Fed it off. Shot bounced wide. Taggart Clark couldn't find the angle on that one, though the RMU was last back, and it will stay with the Colonials.
A sneaky shot by Taggart Clark there, just trying to get his team back onto the board. Clark with the only goal in this game so far for the Colonials.
Boudreau now off for Holden. Holden towards the net. Back behind, it's Keeley. Now Boudreau up high again. Johansson was challenged. Boudreau fitting it off far side. Holden. Now Johansson. Johansson off on the high left again. Holden. And the ball came towards the net, and the ground ball was scooped up by Parker Green. And Panthers came out of there with the ground ball and head the other way. Looking to build on this 3-goal advantage.
A great defensive possession by High Point there. RMU moving around a lot, but the High Point defenders just bodying up against the Colonials and keeping them in check. A nice shutdown defensively for the Panthers.
We saw a lot of that through the first 10 minutes of the first quarter as well. And thus far through the first 8 minutes of the second quarter, we've seen a good bit of that as well, though the Colonials have had a couple of offensive opportunities down to our right However, the Panthers have scored the lone two goals of this second quarter. Retreating with the ball, Kobe Russell back behind the net. Near along the goal line, it's Nolting back behind again. Good defense there applied to Van Overbeek. Snatching that one out of the air, Nate Randall for RMU, and here come the the Colonials taking it away from the Panthers, going the other way. Holden up high. Fending a shot was Chasen. Now Chasen retreating with it. Colonials bringing on some more attackmen. Back behind again, Keeley. Keeley challenged by a defender. Takes it out front, now retreats again. High on the left, dancing with it, Lidstone. It goes high, up front, through the stick of Taggart Clark. Still loose on the deck. Still not scooped up. Finally a ground ball picked up by the Panthers. They'll take it the other way, looking for the clear and some more offense.
Second time this game that Clark has had it right in front. Couldn't get the handle on it.
One rip towards the net there by Skirbo. Nate Randall got the ball for the Colonials. RMU is to go the other way with it. Starkey off for Lidstone. Out of the far side. Through the stick of Kane. He's able to run it down before it crosses the end line, though. And RMU is going to use a timeout here. It'll be Colonials' ball after the timeout here as Craig McDonald and the Colonial staff want to talk offensive strategy as they find themselves down by 3 with 4:45 to play here in the second quarter. 4-1 your score. We'll step away. It's RMU Men's Lacrosse here on RMU Athletics YouTube. .445 to play, second quarter. RMU down 4-1. So the Colonials have the ball here. Took a timeout, talk some offense here. Neither team with any timeouts remaining this half. Colonials yet to score in the second quarter. Maia with a couple of goals in this second quarter. RMU looks to answer back. We haven't seen a goal in this game for more than 5 minutes. Swaggerty off for Clark. Back up high on the left it goes. Clark splits defenders, rips a shot wide though. RMU is last back, and they'll maintain the possession as Swaggerty will set the Colonials offense with about 15 to go on the shot clock.
Clark and Keeley have had the best look so far for the Colonials, but neither can get another goal.
Keeley trying to back down a defender. Underhanded shot carries over the right shoulder of the netminder and across the end line. And with the shot clock expiring, the Colonials will just back off, let the Panthers scoop this one up and send it the other way, as Green will set the attack for High Point.
Both teams so far having pretty much even chances, just High Point converting at a better rate than the Colonials, and Colonials just not hitting the net as much as the Panthers have been. A couple misses there, and one big miss from Clark on the last possession.
Sawyer up high. Ippolito. Down towards the goal goes Vines. Cycled around again. Maia back to Ippolito. Now Sawyer. Sawyer along the goal line, getting it back, now retreating back towards the end line. Shot clock under 20. Van Overbeek tries to backhand a pass to a teammate, but two Colonials there, and the ground ball scooped up by Eli Doyle. RMU heads back the other way with it. Colonials cleared into the offensive zone. Push forward towards Keeley, but an errant pass by Boudreau allowed Parker Green to scoop up that ground ball. High Point gets it right back.
Boy, another point-blank chance for Keeley right there. Again, not able to corral it and turn and shoot. Keeley just a few times this game, same with Clark, losing the ball right before they have an opportunity to shoot.
Yeah, a lot of that had to do with not a great pass by Boudreau in the process. But regardless, not a good offensive execution there by the Colonials. Allows the Panthers to go on the attack again. 45 on the shot clock. As again, this methodical offense for High Point has kept the Colonials on their heels. And when the Colonials have had offensive opportunities, the High Point defense has looked sharp. High on the left, sharp shot by Hunter Vines, carries wide. And will carry all the way across the goal line where Kobe Russell will set things up for the Panthers.
And a lot of credit to the Colonials defense. I know there's 4 goals on the scoreboard, but they've played relatively sound, and so has Nate Randall. But on the other end, it's RMU's offense that's just struggled to find any footing.
Conversation here about the clock, I believe. I don't think it's about the game clock, maybe about the shot clock, but we'll see what happens as they look to reset this one. 4-1 your score. RMU in the midst of a 4-game homestand. Now we wind. Pausing with it, Vines. And the ball bouncing to the wide side of the cage, and the ground ball was scooped up by Chasen for the Colonials, and RMU goes back to the offensive end very quickly, getting the clear. Keeley leaving it back, Starkey. Starkey through traffic, and he will find the back of the net.
And the Colonials crowd erupts. Starkey just paving his way in through the defense. Took it himself after receiving the pass, and he fires it for a goal. Coming off a 3-goal performance against Canisius. He stays hot, making it 4-2. Colonials inching back late here in the first half.
Starkey doing a nice job eluding a defender and then showing some speed, getting some separation, split the other 2 defenders, and put that one into the net. The unassisted goal for Starkey. And RMU cuts the deficit down to 4-2.
Now it's about keeping High Point from not scoring, but they'll throw it away here.
So the Panthers with a turnover, and the shot clock is off, so it will be RMU with the ball and an opportunity to hold it last here in the first half. Cut this lead down to 1 before the mid-game break. Johansson with it. Colonials cycle on Ben Starkey, who just scored the last goal for RMU. Now Johansson. Johansson and Starkey check the game clock, assess the situation, and now trigger the offense. Keeley along the goal line. Taggart now up front. With it, it's Johansson. Ball goes up high, and somehow Parker Green comes out of there with it for the Panthers. Parker Green to midfield. Rifles a pass near side. This one ripped off and well off the mark. And the Colonials will get a stat sheet stuffer takeaway as we head to the mid-game break with the score High Point 4 and RMU 2, though the Colonials had a good opportunity at the end of the first and second quarters. The lion's share of this game has been controlled by the Panthers.
Yeah, last chance opportunity for the Colonials. Not a ton of urgency, but get one last shot off, but Parker Green there to make the save.
Again, your halftime score, High Point 4, RMU 2 will step away and return just before the start of the third quarter. You're tuned in to RMU Men's Lacrosse on RMU Athletics YouTube. Set to begin the third quarter. RMU trailing High Point 4-2. Adam Gusky, Nathan Breisinger on the call for you here on RMU Athletics YouTube. Still no clear victor. There we go. Finally, the ground ball scooped up on the face-off win for the Panthers. And they'll go quickly to the offensive end. Jack Sawyer has a shot saved. Panthers in the blacks, Colonials in the whites.
We'll see how these two teams fare in the second half, coming off of halftime adjustments. Craig McDonald, see how he did, the first-year head coach for the Colonials, and John Torpy rather, for High Point, has been with this team since their inception. Coached them to a Southern Conference championship last year and an NCAA appearance. We'll see how these two teams come out in the second half.
That shot bounced wide. Two Colonials back last, and they will come out of there with the ball. So an empty possession for the Panthers. RMU looking to take advantage of some momentum that they took into the locker room. RMU did have a good control of the end of the first and second quarters, though High Point did manage to control a majority of that first half.
And despite the Colonials only having 2 goals on the board and High Point having the lead, they outshot High Point 13-9 in the first half. So a couple good looks. Weren't able to finish, though.
Sharp angled shot there by Colton Lidstone, carries wide, and it will carry to the far sideline where Corson Keeley will set the offense for RMU. Now Lidstone along the goal line works it back outside for Taggart Clark. Again, it's Lidstone. Lidstone back behind the goal, takes it to the goal line, then retreats again. Near side it comes, Taddeo. Up high, Boudreau. Ball came loose, scooped up by Swaggerty. Shot clock down under 10. Swaggerty trying to work it out front, but the pass eludes Dan Taddeo, and it'll roll all the way to the near sideline. And it'll be Panthers ball after the Colonials turnover.
Not a strong possession to start off this second half for the Colonials. Trying to one-up the Panthers after they had an empty possession to start the half as well.
Yeah, brief possession for the Panthers, but more purposeful. RMU really didn't get a good opportunity, a good look at the net at all in their 80 seconds with the ball. Back behind it goes Rizzo. And a sharp angle shot finds its way into the net for the High Point Panthers as they extend their lead to 5-2 with 12:19 to play here in the third quarter. As we take another look at this one, Lamb worked it back behind the net, fed it off, Rizzo. And out front it went, and the shot ripped off as Maea ends up with his third goal.
Maea with the hat trick early here in the second half, and just good ball movement all the way around for High Point, working it from behind the cage to the front, and Nate Randall not ready for that shot. Maea perfectly placed it.
So Maea has scored the last 3 goals for the High Point Panthers as this faceoff is won by High Point, and they'll set the offense again. Maea retreating. Feeding it off now for Van Overbeek. Van Overbeek feeds it off, Vines. Back out up high center to the high left side for Ippolito. Vines charging towards the goal line, now settles down. Works it back out, high left it goes for Van Overbeek. Van Overbeek down towards the goal line, working it back again. Now high right it goes, Sawyer. Sawyer through traffic, rips off a shot that carries wide of the net, but High Point last back was Nolting sitting back there, who has a couple of assists today. Now Nolting out front, challenged by a Colonial defender. Now Vines for Van Overbeek. Van Overbeek back towards the goal line. Sharp angle shot, save made. Second opportunity. This one carries into the net for a High Point goal and a penalty at the end of it as well against RMU. And looks like a Panthers slow to get to his feet to compound the situation.
All sorts of chaos there, and RMU not able to grab that rebound after Randall made a nice save on the first shot. But Van Overbeek gets that rebound and puts it down low on Randall. Colonials just collapsing defensively there, unable to pick up that loose rebound.
So Van Overbeek with the goal there with 11:04 to play. Gives the Panthers a 4-goal lead, 4-2. Panthers led 2-0, then 2-1 after RMU got a goal from Taggart Clark. Then 2 straight goals from Maia. And it was 4-1 High Point before RMU cut that lead down to 4-2 on a goal by Ben Starkey. And back-to-back goals again by the Panthers. And they find themselves up 6-2 with 11:04 to play here in the third quarter.
And the Colonials will be down a man right now as Evan Helmich sitting for this one. And High Point on the year, 6 for 21 coming into this game on the man-up advantage, but 0 for 1 today so far.
Maia getting it back from Van Overbeek. Back it goes to Van Overbeek here on the near side right. Back behind it goes. Nolting around the horn. Fed around to Van Overbeek again. Back behind for Nolting. Nolting to the goal line. Passes it off, then gets it back. Boy, what a sharp angle shot there. Less than a yard away from the goal line, and he was able to rip that one and get it back behind Nate Randall for the player-up goal.
Wow, that shot came in so quickly. I hardly could see that. Randall skinnying up to try to make that save on the far post, but Nolting just rips it past him, and 2 goals quickly for the Panthers. A big man-up advantage goal for them there as they start to take the momentum away from the Colonials.
3 straight goals for the High Point Panthers here in the third quarter. It's the first quarter that the Panthers have scored more than 2 goals. 2 in the first, 2 in the second for High Point. RMU with 1 goal in each quarter. RMU down by 5. It's the biggest deficit of the day for the homestanding Colonials. Are looking to bring their record even to 3-3 on the season. The Panthers looking to improve their record to a winning record of 4-3. Ball bouncing all the way towards the far side. It'll stay with RMU. Of course, Keeley was last back after a shot that went awry for the Colonials.
Starkey tried to come in with a little sneaky wrist movement and a shot on Green, but that one, another one, just going wide for the Colonials. They need to do a better job of at least getting them on the goalkeeper and putting some pressure on Green.
Ball worked over. Keeley, low shot, save made by Parker Green. And one carries all the way to the sideline, and the Colonials will have 60 to work with here after the save shot carries out of bounds. Boudreau allows the Colonials to set their offense. Picks up a pick by Starkey. Splits 2 defenders. Couldn't find a teammate in Taddeo, and the ball is down on the turf. And who comes out of there with the ground ball? Was it a Colonial? It will be Taggart Clark scooping up the ground ball and putting it towards the net. A goal for RMU. Finally, the signal made after Taggart Clark dug the ground ball out of there and put it into the net.
Another multi-goal effort today so far with for Taggart Clark, and not giving up on the play. That extra effort coming out of the scrum, got the loose ball, then dropped it, then picked it up again, and able to get it behind Parker Green. Huge goal there, for the Colonials trying to climb back into this one.
That's a circumstance where Parker Green down on the turf, probably not doing his team a lot of favors there. There were two other defenders in the vicinity who would have been more well served to be involved in trying to get that ball out of there or get it away from Taggart Clark and the Colonials. Instead, Taggart Clark ends up scooping up that loose ball, like you say, and leads to an RMU goal, cutting the lead for High Point down to 4. And RMU ends up winning the face-off for a moment at least, and then a big collision knocks the ball out of the stick of Johnny Chasen. And it carries all the way to the sideline and will stay with RMU.
This game just keeps getting more and more chaotic. Another wacky play and a out-of-bounds ball that goes the Colonials' way off of a shin of a High Point defender.
Stick knocked away from Lidstone, and High Point scoops up the ground ball after the takeaway. Backing away with it for the Panthers was Sawyer. Now the High Point Panthers going to settle things down here with just over 60 seconds to go on this shot clock and a 4-goal advantage.
Yeah, this possession, High Point really looking to calm things down after a couple chaotic minutes in this game.
Out front it'll go. Shot ripped off. Caroms off the pipe. Nolting couldn't find the back of the net. Ball was loose. The Colonials had an opportunity to get the ground ball. Instead, it'll stay with the Panthers, and they'll get 60 to work with.
Colton Lidstone nonchalantly just running over to the far sideline, but a High Point attacker outraces him. Just not a smart play there by Lidstone. Need a little bit more effort.
And out front it goes, and Maia buries that one, getting the feed from Nick Rizzo. So Rizzo to Maia, and another High Point goal puts the Colonials back on their heels, down by 5.
And that all just stems from that play that we just mentioned on Lidstone. Had the opportunity to pick up that loose ball, turn it up the other way, but High Point being aggressive, being the more talented team here, and Maia fires it in past Randall.
So the Panthers answer back after RMU had cut into their lead, and a foul against RMU. And no, it will be a foul against the Panthers, and it will be RMU ball.
Fans are upset that they even blew the whistle on that one. Bo Columbus came away with it off the draw, but like you said, calling a whistle foul on High Point.
Yeah, that's a circumstance where if RMU ultimately has the ball, slowing down momentum really doesn't accomplish much than slowing down the Colonials' offensive attack off of the face-off.
And the Colonials need to start mounting some goals quickly here.
Losing his footing, Taddeo. Ball knocked away from him to the near side, and it will be Panthers ball.
The Colonials have struggled turning over the ball way too much this game. 13 turnovers so far in the day. Colonials on the season averaging 18 turnovers per game, in the lower margin of all men's lacrosse across the nation in that category.
They're certainly on pace to eclipse that 18 with the way things have gone thus far today. Low shot ripped off. Goal for the Panthers. Scoring that one, Jack Sawyer. Long shot for Sawyer, and the Panthers have extended their lead to 6.
This goal for Sawyer all starts from way back in the Colonials' offensive end. A tough turnover, and High Point takes it all the way up the field, and Sawyer just lets go a ripper for his 6th goal of the season.
Redshirt sophomore with that goal, give the assist to Asher Nolting. And Nolting picks up his 3rd assist on the game to go along with a goal today as well. Face-off dug out of there by RMU. Bo Columbus winning it for the Colonials. Face-off specialist. Lidstone pulling it back out for Holden. Holden pauses, feeding it back. Neal. Now it's Lidstone. Towards the goal line, Corson Keeley. Back out for Boudreau. Round to the near side left. Holden. Bouncing shot by Torin Neal, and RMU cuts into the Panthers' advantage.
That one electrifies the Colonial crowd. Torin Neal ripping off the bounce shot in past Green, and Neal scored last game, his first of the season last time. Now he scores his second of the season campaign, making it 9-4. Colonials trying to inch back in this one.
5'10" junior out of Concord, California, scoring that goal for RMU with 5:28 to play here in the third quarter. RMU down by 5, face-off 1. Columbus feeding it off. Neal, low shot, dribbles through the crease. Taggart Clark couldn't scoop it up. And the ground ball was picked up by Torin Neal, and a flag comes in.
Looks like it'll be on High Point.
And I think that penalty does go against the Panthers. 1 minute for a cross-check against High Point, so the Colonials going to go man up here. There's a little trigger this offense. Along the near side, Taggart Clark will get things started.
An aggressive defensive possession for High Point there. Trying to slow down the Colonials after a great face-off win. Trying to go back-to-back on their goals, and now the Colonials have the man-up opportunity.
John Adams to sit for a minute for High Point in the penalty box.
RMU on the season 7 for 15 on the man-up opportunities at a 47% conversion rating. So the Colonials hoping to score here, cutting it to a 4-goal lead would be perfect for the Colonials as about the midway point of the third quarter.
Boudreau gets it from Clark. Now Keeley has it. Back up top, Boudreau to Keeley. Back to Boudreau. Near side it comes. Onto the goal line. Now out front, Taggart Clark has his shot saved. Ball scooped up by the Colonials. I think they're going to put 55 on the shot clock. So right now it says 74, and a save shot would have reset that to, they're going to say 45. Which I'm not sure that that's accurate either. Because if there was a saved shot, that would have reset the clock to 60, not 80. So if it reset to 80 and about 5 seconds came off, it should be 55. So now the official's going to talk with the guys at the table. They'll radio upstairs, and we'll get this ironed out.
Both McDonald and Torpy trying to figure out what's going on, and they actually bumped it lower, now to 40.
Oh, that's perplexing. Colonials with it. Clark, Boudreau, now Keeley. Onto the goal line. And a shot bounces its way into the net. Actually, couldn't quite see what had occurred there, to be honest with you.
Just a nice pass right in front to Dan Taddeo. Sort of a one-timer wide open cage as Parker Green was caught on the far side. A nice ball movement. The Colonials back-to-back now, making 9-5.
Stick angle there by, I think it was Swaggerty down there along the goal line, who had forced that over to that near side, and the goal for RMU cuts their deficit down to 4. Whatever the case may be, a big goal there for RMU after the pass from Swaggerty. Found a teammate, and Taddeo pulled the trigger for RMU.
Another face-off win there for the Colonials. Gotta give a lot of credit to Bo Columbus, who's been exceptional as a face-off man. Coming into this game, 52%, he has won the face-offs. And today, you know, these last few goals really stemming off of great face-offs.
Stoppage here. The official's going to settle things down. A shoe was tossed to the near sideline.
Clearing up the garbage on the field.
Yeah, I think it was Bo Columbus lost his shoe after the face-off play. It was tossed all the way to the near sideline.
Columbus leaving it all out there, literally and figuratively. He's won 10 face-offs this game out of the 16 he's taken.
Turnover by RMU. McDonald not at all happy. Adrian Turok-Orban trying to grab a hold of Craig McDonald, trying to settle him down. As he was not at all happy.
A clean check on Elliott Holden forced him to go out of bounds there, causing the turnover over to High Point.
Back behind the net it'll go. Knowlton feeding it off, racing across the goal line and firing it back. Hunter Vines will score for the High Point Panthers, reclaiming the lead as RMU had gathered some of it.
Hunter Vines adding his name to the list of high point scorers in this game. Just comes out, turns around. Another player for the Panthers that was given preseason honors from the Southern Conference, listed to their all-conference team. And he makes it known here. 5th goal of the season for Vines.
Ball dug out by Columbus. He pushed it forward, but High Point's going to scoop up the ground ball. And at least for the moment, they had won the face-off, but it was taken back. Columbus, like a man possessed, somehow pushes it back. Clark buries it into the net. And it will not be a valid goal for the Colonials. It'll be Panthers' ball. The goal wiped off. And a timeout called by the RMU Colonials.
Wow. What a valiant effort there by Bo Columbus. All that for nothing, though. Laid it all out onto the floor and making a beautiful pass to Taggart Clark, but they'd waved it off.
Just over 3.5 minutes to play third quarter. It's the Panthers 10, the Colonials 5. You're tuned in to RMU Men's Lacrosse on RMU Athletics YouTube. Colonials trail the Panthers 10-5 with 3:38 to play third quarter. Adam Gusky, Nathan Breisinger on the call for you. Colonials ball here. Up top it goes. Boudreau to trigger The offense for the Colonials, Clark. Swaggerty all the way around the horn it goes. High left, Holden. Holden, D'd up. 2 defenders on him. Now to Boudreau. Shot low, kicked forward by a defender. High Point scoops up the ground ball after the Colonials not able to get anything going offensively. Now the Panthers set the offense. With it, Lamb. Off for Rizzo. Now Lamb has it. Jackson Lamb towards the goal line, back behind the net. Nolting lost the ball, but able to scoop it right back up. Now he'll go to the goal line. Able to maintain the possession, feeds it off to Maea, and yet again, it is Nolting to Maea for a Panthers goal with this time 2:24 to play in the third quarter.
And all that once again set up by Nolting. You know, just the extra effort there by him guarding off a Colonial defender who was draped all over him, but still able to feed it up to a wide open Maea, who's sitting right in front of Randall. No Colonials defenders in the area, and Maea, no mistake with it, buries it.
(11-5) the score. The Panthers on top of the Colonials. Second time the Colonials find themselves down by a half a dozen. It was 9-3, now it is 11-5. Just over 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Colonials come out of there with the face-off win. It took a while to do so, but they will ultimately get it. Sliding down, a long stick to grab it for the Colonials out towards midfield. Errant pass there, and not a true turnover for the Colonials, so RMU ends up just scooping up a ball, and now we'll set things up offensively.
Colonials got lucky there. Just thrown away basically by Josh Schreibrice. Just giving it away, but Colonials luckily there. Picked it up.
Weaving through traffic and scoring for the Colonials, Will Johansson puts it into the back of the net and cuts the Colonials' deficit to 5.
Will Johansson just maneuvering like a madman through the offensive zone. High Point going to get someone over there on him and comes in within green and fires it past him. Beautiful goal by Johansson. Gives him 4 on the year now. 10 points for him.
Unassisted goal. Coming with 1:32 to play third quarter. RMU down 11-6.
And it's really noticeable that Robert Morris's effort has really increased in this half, but it's been countered by High Point's ability to score. Robert Morris really not able to bunch a couple goals together. They had 2 goals back-to-back a few moments ago, but not able to get any three-goal efforts together.
Pushed forward. Now back, it's worked. Starkey. Starkey slowing things down here with about a 10-second differential between shot and game clock. Fed it back for Johansson. Now it's Starkey again. 30 on the shot clock. Starkey starts his charge. And it's taken away by the Panthers. Stepping in a passing lane, picking it off. Trey Smith, the long stick midfielder. Green working it back. Then pushed forward. Nolting has it for the Panthers. To the goal line. Sawyer. Sawyer to Nolting. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Out onto the high right. Bouncing shot goes awry. Smith not able to find the net with that one, and we will head to the fourth quarter with the score High Point 11, RMU 6. Clearly not a good third quarter for the Colonials. We will head to the fourth with the score High Point 11, RMU 6. You're tuned in to RMU Men's Lacrosse on RMU Athletics YouTube. Set to begin the fourth quarter, RMU trailing the High Point Panthers 11-6. Adam Gusky, Nathan Brysinger on the call for you here on RMU Athletics YouTube. Bo Columbus with the win on the faceoff for RMU. Tried to feed it off to teammate Torin Neal, who has a goal on the game. The pass goes awry to the far sideline. A turnover for the Colonials, and it's Panthers ball.
Great opportunity to get on the board quickly in the fourth quarter as they trail by 5, but Bo Columbus's pass just a little bit behind Torin Neal before he started heading towards the cage.
Panthers right to left across your screen here in the fourth quarter. Robert Morris left to right. Colonials in the white uniforms, the Panthers in the blacks. RMU setting up the offense. Pushing it forward for the Colonials is Torin Neal down that far side. Into the zone it goes for Clark, and then pulled back out by the Colonials as they will set things up. Down to the goal line it goes. Holden all the way around the goal. Out onto the high left side. Back for Johansson. Now high right. Keeley. Behind for Neal. Johansson gets it back. Low shot, save made by Parker Green. Colonials get it back though. Takeaway by RMU. Holden up high, Boudreau. Over to the far side. Holden has it again. And a turnover by RMU, an infraction there by the Colonials, and the Panthers get it back.
Robert Morris back-to-back possessions where not much really going on. They got lucky and got the turnover in between the two, but not able to capitalize on back-to-back chances. And one player that I really think needs to step up here in the last quarter is Corson Keeley. Held off the scoreboard so far, and that's very hard to do, and the Panthers are doing it so far. He scores 3 goals per game.
Panthers, we've seen them use a lot of clock per possession throughout the game. Anticipate that will probably continue here with a 5-goal lead in the fourth quarter. Though this appears to be their first protracted possession of the fourth quarter. Van Overbeek to the goal line. Back behind it'll go. Nolting works it back. Sawyer, shot ripped off. Save made by Nate Randall.
Sawyer, quick shot from out high, but Randall doing a really nice job tracking it down and closing the legs quickly.
Johansson towards the goal line, feeds it back for Keeley on a bounce. Clark onto the high right, Boudreau. High center, Boudreau now pulls it back out. Now fed off for Swaggerty. Swaggerty out near midfield. Half of the shot clock gone. He'll give it off for Starkey. To Swaggerty, now Clark. Clark out front, rips off a shot. Now woke high. Carries across the goal line, and rather across the end line. Shot clock stays at 30.
Bit of a change-up shot there from Clark. High point defender got the stick on stick there, but he sailed it above green.
Starkey has it for the Colonials, high center. Out of Boudreau. Shot clock at 12. Boudreau. Off to Clark. Clark angled shot. That one wide. Shot clock at 3 here, so the Colonials just going to dump it over to that far sideline, bounce it, and give it back to the Panthers. Just under 11 minutes to play fourth quarter. RMU down a handful. They've trailed by 6 twice today.
And there's still plenty of time here as another turnover and Parker Green way out from his cage.
Yeah, Green had tossed that off to Peters and it bounced off of his stick and the Colonials take advantage. It leads to an RMU goal as that one bounces into the back of the net as 3 Colonials were there and just 1 black jersey back on the defensive end.
The Colonials finally capitalizing on one of the Panthers' mistakes. And as we mentioned, Parker Green way outside the cage trying to run it back. And a nice pass over to Corson Keeley, and finally, there he is, getting on the board for the Colonials.
Give the assist to Taggart Clark. And Keeley with the assist, with the goal rather, for RMU. RMU wins the faceoff. Back it goes. Boudreau with a goal for RMU. Getting the feed from Dan Taddeo, and the Colonials all of a sudden have made this one a game, down by 3 with still 10:28 to play fourth quarter.
Just 10 seconds apart. The Colonials starting to get the energy, starting to get back to life. Big goal there by Boudreau, just rips it in. Past Green. And I'll have to say, Bo Columbus might not score a goal today, but he is playing a big key into this game. Another huge face-off win to help, just 10 seconds apart from those goals.
So back-to-back goals for the Colonials by Keeley and Boudreau. The second one set up by a face-off win by Bo Columbus. Columbus did everything he could to win that one, and ultimately the Colonials come out of there with it. And the Colonials will win the face-off. It's Leary with it for the Colonials with the long stick. Back for Boudreau. Now Holden. Holden has to pull it back out for Johansson. Johansson slides past the defender. Underhanded shot carries over the net. And across the end line it'll go.
The Colonials are already electrified, but Will Johansson, if he would have connected on that shot, would have got this team really going. Brought him within 2 if he would have found the back of the net on that one.
Off for Boudreau. Now Keeley has it. Worked off for Holden. Holden retreats. Back behind the net it'll go. Taggart Clark tries to backhand one. Can't do it. Ground ball scooped up by the Colonials. And it's picked up and put into the net by Corson Keeley, but this one's going to be waved off. I think the Panthers had a defender in the crease. And the official had blown the whistle before the ball had found its way to Corson Keeley, and he put off the shot.
Another tough break. Colonials had that happen earlier in the game as well, where it looked like they were going to score and whistled off, but this time they maintained possession.
So the officials have a quick conference, sort things out. It will be RMU ball whenever we do get back to live action. And it will be Johansson working it to the midfield, and here come the Colonials charging forward with it. It's Holden. Along the goal line, a shot ripped off by RMU's Will Johansson, and a flag comes in. Slash against the Panthers. Colonials are going to go man up here and extend this possession. They'll have 80 seconds to work with to compound the issue for the Panthers down here on our right-hand side. RMU scoring 3 straight between the third and now fourth periods. It's cut a lead from 6 down to 3. And Taggart Clark will start things off for RMU. To Johansson, back to Clark. Keeley tried to work it across the field, but it was knocked down by a long stick midfielder, or defender rather, for the Panthers. The ball scooped up by RMU. Up high, Boudreau. Now Clark. Clark rifles one past the netminder, Parker Green, and the Colonials' deficit is just a 2.
Robert Morris really bringing the firepower now here in the fourth quarter. Clark, the hat trick for him on today's game. Colonials 2 for 3 now on the man-up advantage, really taking care of those opportunities when High Point making mistakes. And we talked about at the beginning of this quarter, a couple early empty possessions, but the Colonials making the most out of their most recent few.
So you give the man-up goal to Taggart Clark, the assist to Jake Boudreau. And the Colonials, with 8:34 to play in the fourth quarter, have cut this lead all the way down to 2, 11-9. 4 straight goals by the Colonials. So RMU in the midst of a furious comeback, though the Panthers here in the fourth quarter win a rare face-off. Sawyer with it offensively for the Panthers. Now for Russell. Now Lamb. Lamb and Rizzo play catch for a moment. And now Rizzo slowing things down with over 30 seconds elapsed in this shot clock. Nolting crosses the goal line. Now pauses, had an open opportunity. Instead, will work it out for Sawyer. 50 seconds elapsed in this possession for the Panthers. Sawyer works it back out for Lamb. Lamb up high, fades it off. Russell. Russell, underhanded shot, bounces away, hits way past Nate Randall. And High Point stops the bleeding, at least for the moment. Reclaiming a lead of 3, 12-9.
A great possession there by High Point. Able to slow it down, calm it down. And their big-time players starting to understand at this point in the game they need to take a step back and assess things, and finally they worked it around. Kobe Russell able to get it in past Randall on a nice bounce shot.
Kobe Russell, grad student from Lutherville, Maryland. Pivotal face-off here for RMU. Bo Columbus looks to reclaim some of that momentum that the Colonials had, scoring 4 straight goals, straddling the quarter break. But ultimately the Panthers push it forward, though nobody has scooped up the ball just yet. RMU finally does scoop up that ball, and the shot clock will start. Racing forward for RMU, a long stick in Leary. The Colonials will retreat and reset the offense.
And all of this coming on Colonials down a man. Johnny Chason down there on the sideline, out for the Colonials currently, as High Point with the man-up advantage, but Colonials controlling the clock right now.
Johansson getting direction from the sideline, awaiting players to cycle in for RMU. 40 seconds to go here, half of the shot clock gone. Racing forward with it for RMU, Holden. He's shut down by 3 defenders. Now Tagger Clark, a bouncing shot, carries wide. Shot clock sets to 60. Clock winding. Under 6 minutes to go. Dancing his way forward. Holden now pulls it back out high center. Boudreau takes it himself. He's wrapped up around the neck. Flags come in from 2 officials. Colonials going to go man up again here.
Colonial sideline almost making that call erupted, seeing Boudreau wrapped around the neck, but both the referees tossing the flag, and Colonials will go man up again. 2 for 3 so far in the afternoon on the man up advantage.
And a timeout is called. It took a long time for RMU to get things rolling offensively, and ultimately I think the Colonials going to use a timeout here, talk offensive strategy, as they will be down to 1 for the remainder of this game, or rather that is their final timeout. So we will step away with the Colonials trailing by 3, 12-9. It's RMU Men's Lacrosse here on RMU Athletics YouTube. 12-9 your score with 5 minutes, 26 seconds remaining in quarter number 4. RMU with the ball. This timeout coming after a High Point timeout, taken after a High Point penalty.
And this one looks like it's going to come down to the wire once again. 12-9. Currently, 6 of the 7 matchups these two teams have faced have come down to within the last 5 goals.
Ball bouncing around out front. Will stay with RMU as a defender in the crease for the Panthers. Another long conversation here. Shot clock's going to be pushed back up to 80 now. They say officially it was a change of possession, and then the Colonials get it back after the infraction by the Panthers. Colonials still playing man up here. Shot carrying over the right shoulder of the netminder Green, but also carries over the cage and out of bounds. It'll stay with RMU though. 67 on the shot clock. 5:04 to play on the game clock. Right around 5 minutes to go here. RMU with some work to do, down by 3, though they were down by 6 and cut it all the way down to a 2-goal advantage for the Panthers. Answered back. Back to even strength we are. Corson Keeley, low shot. That one all the way back across the end line. And the Colonials maintain possession. Near side, Swaggerty. Swaggerty, high center. Feeding it off for Johansson. Now Keeley. Back behind the net it goes. Taddeo around the horn. Now Keeley with it. Keeley underhands it back. Boudreau, low shot. Rips one past Green, and RMU back down by just 2.
Keeley with a pretty pass, dropping it back off to Boudreau. Keeley drawing in some eyes to him from the High Point defenders and gets Boudreau wide open then at the 20-yard line. Just ripped it in on Parker Green. 12-10 now.
Colonials cut the deficit down to 11-9 before the goal by the Panthers, Kobe Russell. Colonials cut it down to 2 again here, 12-10, with 4:16 to go, fourth quarter. Big face-off here. Does Columbus come out of there with it, or will it be the Panthers? It's still loose. Finally, gathered in by the Colonials. Here comes RMU. It's Taggart Clark. Low shot bouncing through the crease. Keeley can't scoop it up. It'll be scooped up by Green for the Panthers.
Clark right there on the doorstep once again, trying to get that bouncing ball, and Keeley trying to fish it off the ground, but it's Parker Green and the Panthers that come away with it.
Green all the way out across midfield. And RMU gets a takeaway. Shot ripped off. Corson Keeley scores for RMU. Green gambles. RMU takes advantage.
Wow, High Point's really just shooting themselves in the foot right now. Parker Green, lack of awareness of where he was on the field, going past midfield, turned over to the Colonials, and it's worked all the way down. Keeley just ripped it. What a shot by him before Green could hustle back to his cage. And High Point, you know, right outside the top 20 teams in the nation, but right now struggling and making mistake after mistake, and Colonials taking advantage.
So a turnover by High Point at midfield. Colonials got it. It was James Leary feeding it off for Corson Keeley. Keeley buries it into, for all intents and purposes, what would be an empty net, and we've got a 1-goal game, though a big face-off win here for the Panthers, and they set the offense for the first time in a long time.
You got to think that High Point's going to settle it down here. Obviously, a lot of chaos in the past few minutes, and High Point on the other side of things right now, looking bleak for them, but they still maintain that 1-goal lead, trying to hold off the Colonials' comeback.
Hunter Vines with the ball right now for the High Point Panthers. Vines all the way across the field to the other corner. 3 minutes to play, 40 on the shot clock right now. Back and forth Hunter Vines goes from one corner of the field to the other. Now we'll start to speed things up for the Panthers offense. Back behind, he'll feed it off for Nolting. Nolting, who has been a big key to this offense for the Panthers. Pushing it back. Ball bounced to the stick of Ippolito. Now Sawyer has it. Across the field. Off to Nolting. Nolting rips one off that'll carry wide. All the way across the field to the far sideline. Just 2 on the shot clock. And this one will bounce all the way across the field, and a shot clock violation by the Panthers. Great defensive possession there by RMU. Once High Point started to ramp up the pressure, the Colonials shut it down.
Another crazy possession late there on the shot clock, and all of that coming with Jake Boudreau. Broke his stick and had to come off, make a change. But the Colonials keeping High Point from scoring.
Low shot save made by Green after the shot was ripped off by Taddeo. And then Green covers up the ball, give him a ground ball ultimately, and with 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes to go here, the Panthers have the ball up by 1.
We'll see the Colonials press here being much more aggressive, but for RMU, you got to be careful. Don't take a penalty.
Long pass for the Panthers. Rizzo. Defended well by Doyle. Rizzo all the way back behind, Doyle in his back pocket. Fed out to the high right, Lamb. Rizzo with it. Rizzo pausing with 30 on the shot clock, just over a minute to go. Now Nolting has it. Nolting, his charge forward, shut down. Out on the high left it goes. A long shot and a goal for Jackson Lamb with 47 seconds to go. Gives the Panthers some insurance as time is waning here in the fourth quarter.
That's a backbreaker for the Colonials. Jackson Lamb gets it after High Point worked it all the way around. Killed off a lot of clock there on that possession, and Lamb made no mistake, buried it past Randall, and Randall frustrated with himself, but Colonials less than a minute to score 2 goals.
Give the assist to Braden Maea. As he was coming from the goal line, found his teammate open in Jackson Lamb, high on that right-hand side, a long pass and a long goal for Jackson Lamb. It came at a pivotal moment for the Panthers. Fight for the face-off. Bo Columbus wins it. Far side it goes. RMU needs to speed things up here. And a timeout is taken. And you may have heard earlier there was a timeout taken. We said it was against or taken by RMU rather, because it was taken off of the scoreboard as RMU, but it ended up being a High Point timeout moment earlier. So this is the final timeout for RMU with 52 seconds to go, or rather 31 seconds to go in the game. I was looking at the timeout rundown there. Well, again, your score 13-11 with 31 seconds to play in regulation. It's RMU Men's Lacrosse here on RMU Athletics YouTube. 34 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. It's the Panthers 13, the Colonials 11. RMU using their final timeout of the game. Taggart Clark to start the offense from the far side. Just over 6 yards from that goal line. Clark. Checked hard. Tried to feed it off for Keeley. The pass awry. And a back-breaking turnover for the Colonials in a moment they couldn't afford to turn the ball over.
It's a tough possession for the Colonials coming out of the timeout. Looked like their play was pretty much squandered by a tough high-point defense as they'll throw it down the field here.
This one bouncing a couple of times, and RMU scoops it up and tosses it back the other way in a last-ditch effort to try to make things work on the offensive end, but the Panthers get it back and toss it back the other way, and time will expire. The High Point Panthers get the victory 13-11 over RMU with the win. High Point improves their record to 4-3 with the loss. The Colonials now 2-4 on the season.
It's a tough one for the Colonials. They fought back hard in the second half, but just couldn't get it done. High Point's defense just enough stops there in the end, and a couple big goals for the Panthers to put them over the top.
Well, that'll do it for our coverage today as the RMU Colonials lose to the High Point Panthers 13-11. Next up for the Colonials, it'll be a home game on March 19th. It'll be a game against Marquette. For Nate Breisinger and our entire crew, I'm Adam Gusky. Thanking you for joining us. It's been RMU Men's Lacrosse here on RMU Athletics YouTube.